I did not find my Lane art book. I did find my Nia Under 7 art book. Same artist, Yoshitoshi Abe. And I don't think you can really understate the influence of this dude. And it's not that Abe is the only artist of this kind of discipline from the era, but I definitely think he's the best known and most influential. I would say the artist for Boogie Pop, Kouji Ogata. Like, Kouji Ogata's style is not quite as, like, mesmerizingly detailed and all that, but I think it has a similar vibe of this kind of dissociative, far away feeling. Like, the characters, they don't have the big emotive immediacy of most anime characters. They feel closed off, and even when they are actually emoting, there's something kind of like mysterious and trippy about it. You know, Abe is like, I've seen this dude just pull out like an iPad and just like draw with his finger quickly, and it looks like this. Like, it's just the way he draws. He cannot help himself but to make his art look this way. I think there's an aspect of, he also does photography, and so, like, when it comes to the way that his backgrounds and stuff are framed, I think he takes a lot of influence from, you know, real locations and photos he's taken. Now, I don't know if everybody knows this, but Yoshitoshi Abe is like a college professor who literally teaches people how to draw. You know, like, he's actually an art professor. So when I say that his influence is massive, I'm not just talking about the many, many people who draw kind of like Abe. I would even include Nisa from chat and Elaine from chat in the category of people who are clearly influenced by Yoshitoshi Abe in how they draw. But, like, there's people who literally learn directly from him how to draw. His contemporaries, there was this magazine of sorts called Robot. This magazine, the cover art is always by Murata. Murata, I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce his fucking name. And Murata has also done a lot of character design work for anime. He did Last Exile, also tremendously influential of this era. And, you know, each issue of Robot would have like a collection of, so here's Abe's comic from Robot. Okay, I didn't expect to end up on a whole other fucking page. But, like, you can see that it was kind of all artists who are in this vibe range. But I would say that Murata and Yoshitoshi Abe were the ones who were, like, the most prominent figures from this era. Another artist who I only really discovered recently because of shmups is the guy who did a lot of stuff for the Cave games, which I think his style feels right at home amid Abe and Range Murata. I'm trying to think of another game. Ooh, that looks cool. Yeah, some Guange or some Esperad. This artist feels right at home, and also from the 90s, you know. Junya Inoue, I believe that's who I'm looking for. Also did the manga Batum, funnily enough. Went from doing shmup art to doing explosives manga. I forgot that he's like best known for this and not for cave games, but yeah, this feels like the same type of thing. So there was definitely like a movement of some sort in the late 90s towards this aesthetic. And I don't know what, like, caused it. Like, I don't know who was the biggest influence on Abe and Murata and Inoue in that sense. But, like, something was definitely in the water here, you know? Who else bought the first disc of Ergo Proxy because they thought it was Yoshitoshi Abe art? Like, who else saw this in the store and went, that looks like... that looks kind of like Serial Experiments Lane and Techno Lies, and then bought it and then realized it was not at all. Which, now that I'm a lot better versed in art, I don't think I would make that. I would not mistake this for Abe today. There's too much different, particularly about the eyes. But, you know, I understand why I thought so when I was young. He did Haibane Renmei, of course, Techno Lies, Nia Under 7 and Lane, and later on, he's done a few other things. He did the artwork for the cover of Welcome to the NHK, the novel, All You Need Is Kill, the novel. So yeah, his art has been pretty well seen. I would think. Here's him himself. I don't know if this is still true, but for a long time he followed back like everybody who followed him on Twitter. Like I used to have him as a follower, not because he was reading my tweets, but because he was following like 60,000 accounts. This is awesome, by the way. I love this. And I have a few of his art books. I have some of his doujinshi, his self-published comics. But yeah, generally a legend. But yeah, Kei Toume, I feel like that's another close by artist, you know, from the same era once again. Like, so I don't know what was going on. Like, why did this art style happen? I guess I have to find out. Like, I was going to say somebody needs to make a history video about this and explain this trend. Wait, maybe they have. Why does Yoshitoshi Abe art look like that? Let's see what we get. Fine arts and graffiti foundations, the no ruler rule, digital experimentation. Okay, yeah, that's literally why. But I want to know historically why. Let's see if he lists any influences here. Doesn't look like it. How would you achieve the art style? That's not what I really want. Yeah, we can all agree his art is great. But why? Why is he like this? What did he do? Who was he influenced by? Damn it. I don't feel like I'm getting any closer. But maybe that's part of the mystique. Never really knowing. Because, like, I don't even think he was necessarily first. Like, all of those artists I just named are contemporary of each other. So I'm like, did one of them see the others and then go, oh, I'm doing that? You know, like, were they all inspired by each other, or were they all inspired by something older? It's hard to know. But I would love to. On the inverse of who Abe influenced, I was just about to ask, who would you speculate the artists who influenced Abe? But you beat me to the punch. Yeah, I can't figure it out. Pyramid Inu said, I guess there's sort of a line from 80s manga new wave to these artists, right? Anime proportions becoming progressively more realistic, entwined with a moody cyberpunk vibe. Certainly. I could definitely see, like, the first name that came into my head is Katsuhiro Otomo, but I also feel like there's too much different for me to think it's a straight line from Otomo to Abe, you know? Like, you look at Otomo and then you look at Naruto and you can easily see what happened there, you know? I don't know if I feel that way about Otomo to Murata or Inoue or any of those people. But I definitely think it's from that camp. Like, actually, if I think about, like, Satoshi Kon, like, his art is somewhere in between those. And he's the direct understudy of Katsuhiro Otomo. But, like, let me break out Opus real quick. Like, you can tell that this is Otomo influenced, looking at the characters and stuff. But it's a little less, like, rough, I guess, is the word I would use. A little closer to that, you know, 90s anime smoothness. I think this published at the end of the 80s or early 90s. Trying to find, like, a really good... No, this looks super Otomo right here, this fucking kid. But I definitely think this is, like, something about the 90s. Like, there was a softening and closer to, like, a more cerebral feeling where, like, compared to Akira, this is even more, like, heady and, you know, and weird. Yeah, more feminine. That's the perfect word for it, actually. Like, all those artists that I just named, they draw a lot of girls. You know, like, Abe draws a lot of girls. Maybe there's something sort of trans under it all, you know? It's hard to say. The dissociation aspect is definitely a major part, you know? Like, I wonder if what's that dude who made the hibari-kun illustrator, who is a self-described trans egg, Hisashi Eguchi. This could definitely have been part of it. But yeah, like Eguchi's art, I could definitely see building up to something like this, even though it's much more like poppy, but something about the expressions. I would definitely say Eguchi's art is more joyful. Abe's is so like distant and mysterious. And Eguchi's is like more of Hisashi, not Higashi. That's probably why I'm not getting as many results spelling his name wrong. But like, I definitely see something there. Yeah, the flat colors are awesome. I have to imagine it's really difficult to like match colors this bold, this well. You know, like, you can't just slap some red, some blue, and some yellow and it come out looking like that. You gotta really pick your red, blue, and yellow. Oshii, as in Mamoru Oshii, well, he's not really an illustrator is the thing, but I could definitely see Ghost in the Shell, the film, in particular. No, not the fucking live action anime. 1995. I was about to throw a fucking fit. I could definitely see this being an influence. Who did the character designs for this film? Character design, Hiroyuki Okiura. Let's see if we can get more. Yeah, I could definitely see. Of course, it's mostly giving me the stuff he directed and not his design work, because why would anything make sense ever? What's another thing he did character design work on? Jinro, definitely in the same wheelhouse. Yeah, I could definitely see Okiura being an influence on this style we're talking about. Also an animator on Akira. I do think probably, I mean, everything flows naturally down from Tezuka, right? So like, you gotta, the flow is like Tezuka into Otomo, into everything that comes after Otomo. This is that era, the 10 years after Otomo era. I just want to know who caused it to evolve this way the most. Archipel has a doc on him, on Eguchi. Yeah, that's a good one. Archipel is such a good channel. Such an underrated, underappreciated. If you don't know about this channel, you can absolutely lose yourself in learning about like awesome creators. There's a bunch of these I haven't seen either that I probably should watch. Maybe if I watch enough of them, I'll get to the heart of this. Hey, look, Yoshitoshi Abe. I've definitely seen this one. This is the one that made me find out that he's like a photographer and a college professor. Abe-tastic. Maybe he did talk about his influences in that, and I just don't remember. But it's been a long time. There's definitely an aspirational quality to Abe's women, unquestionably. All of them are cool as fuck. They're either like, wow, that's literally me, that's what my soul looks like, or that's exactly who I want to be. I mean, Reki from fucking Haibane Renmei is just like the coolest. Guitars are hard to draw, just doing today, yeah, for sure. Nia Under 7 is so good. I haven't seen Nia Under 7 since 2008. Definitely could serve to rewatch that one. This is another artist that, like, I'm looking at this, and I'm like, well, that looks like Abe's art, too. And this is, wait, Panzer Dragoon? That would be the late 90s. Like, something was going on. I'm telling you, there was definitely some kind of movement happening, and I don't know if there's a name for it. Like, I don't know if anybody codified this. I don't know if there was study on this. I don't know if there's been a journal about this in Japanese that's never been translated. I need to know what was going on with the dissociative sci-fi fantasy alternative, you know, like, I want to call it alternative because it's like the grunge of fucking, maybe not grunge, more like, what genre would I compare this to? Post rock? I don't know. Post something, that's for sure.